Hi, welcome to the Human Trainer Standing Core Series. We'll be walking you through a sequence of 4 exercises that focus specifically on the muscles of the core. What we're looking at here is to target that area between the mid-chest to the lower back on the trunk. Those are some of the most important muscle groups we have that support the human body in proper form, function, in not only basic movements for strength and endurance, but especially in our athletic movements. I've got Louise working with me here on my left, who's going to be showing the less advanced version, and Darren on my right, who will be showing the very advanced higher strength component exercises in all 4 of them. We're going to start with our core body rollout, and Louise is going to come down to a kneeling position on her mat with her arms outstretched straight in front. And let's shuffle your knees back a little bit here. Again, we want to look for that form with a nice straight line between the shoulder, the hip, and the knees. Shoelaces are still flat on the floor, arms outstretched. Now what Louise is going to do is outstretch those arms straight in front, lowering down to the ground and coming all the way up to a straight upper body posture. So Louise, what I'm going to have you do is shuffle your knees back a little bit farther. There we go. So she gets more of a dynamic range of motion here, keeping that hip in line with the shoulder, and away you go. Off and forward and straight up, arms nice and straight. Good. So that's a very dynamic exercise for the trunk. Again, muscles of the front and the back. Darren's going to show us the more advanced version of that from a standing position. What I want Darren to do is have feet hip and shoulder width apart. Again, arms nice and straight. He's going to lean into it forward, full dynamic range of motion, nice straight lines between the shoulder, the hip, and the heel in contact with the ground. Perfect. Awesome. There we go. That's the standing version, and then the kneeling version of the ab rollout. A fantastic dynamic trunk exercise. You progress from the version of the kneeling to the standing as your strength and balance and posture improves. We're going to move into our next exercise here. It's both from a standing position, so we're going to get Louise to stand back up and clip up to that top position. This one involves the trunk from a rotational standpoint. Again, another area where we use the side muscles of the core in a more dynamic fashion, where there's more movement and range of motion. Very, very key, not only into human elements and exercises, but especially into sporting elements. What they're going to do is go into a squat position, reach one arm behind, touching the ground if possible, coming up nice and slow, and reaching straight across the body, and back down again. Again, during the squat component, we're focusing on heels contacting the ground, pushing up from the heel, reaching as far back as you can. Nice range of motion in that trunk and that core. Perfect. And opposite side, reaching right up to the top of the strap. Let's try that with the other direction, guys. Change hands. Perfect. Nice full range of motion on the squat. Reach behind, come up and across, focusing on range of motion in the thoracic spine, using those obliques, and one more, and there we go, straight up and back. That's perfect. Next, we're going to move into another rotational exercise. This is quite advanced. It takes a lot of strength, and we really want to focus on proper positioning and posture on this one. It's a single-handled exercise. We're actually going to be standing in a bit of a staggered lateral position to the strap, elbows in nice and tight, focusing on keeping those hands one over the other on the handle, keeping body from head to shoulder to hip to ankle in a nice straight line. What Darren and Louise are going to do is actually keep the arms tight but lean backward into the exercise and pulling up and rotating forward. So the key to this one, it's a very small movement. We want to keep those elbows in nice and tight, making sure the exercise is engaged from the hip, from the trunk area, not from the legs or from the arms. So Louise is going to try and focus on keeping those elbows in tight as she goes in the reclined or the supine position. There we go. Perfect. This takes a lot of strength in that rotational area, the obliques, the abs, the trunk, the muscles of the lumbar spine, but a very important one, especially for those of us who do a lot of sitting in our daily tasks. Those muscles seldom get used, so we need to make sure that those are being strengthened properly. And our last and final exercise, the most advanced of all, is an actual hip flexor lower abdominal exercise. Louise is going to show us the less advanced version, and she's going to add a little toe touch in between, and Darren's going to show us the very advanced version where he's actually holding up his whole body weight on on his arms and shoulder girdle as well. And Louise is going to suspend herself with a bent elbow. So what I want Louise to do, perfect, let's hold it there. Darren's going to start in his starting position, perfect, and Louise pull up with the biceps, arms, and knees up tight. She's going to do a toe tap in between, make sure she's nice and stable and strong, and again, focusing on keeping this area in the torso nice and straight and tall, and knees straight up to the chest. It's a lower body hip flexor and trunk exercise. Perfect. Let's try 2 more, guys. Up and down. And don't forget to breathe during these exercises. It's very, very important and key and crucial. Thank you very much.